I am guessing that the people that wanted Big Mom on Elbaf must be really happy right now. They even got 2 of them. Hello everyone, how's it going? We have another great chapter of One Piece this week. But before we begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Now without further ado, let's get right into it. First, of course, we have the cover story for this week, where we see that apparently Raizo is now the daimyo of Udon. Good for him, I guess. Now let's move on to the main chapter. We start off this week's chapter with a flashback panel showing us the moment when Saul told Robin and Chopper to hide in his hair. Here we find out that apparently Saul was able to recognize Summers and already knew that he was a holy knight. Which makes sense, I guess, since he used to be a vice admiral at one point. But then we get a really interesting revelation from Saul where he says that the holy knights are immortal. So I guess they are the same as the Gorosei, which leads me to believe that the Gorosei's invincibility might have something to do with the mark that Killingham was talking about in chapter 1140, which is required to travel through the abyss pentagrams. Maybe these marks also make the person immortal. Maybe Emu puts these marks on his closest followers, and when that happens, he also takes custody of their souls, which is what makes it possible for them to pass through the abyss unaffected, and as a result, they also cannot die unless Emu wills it to happen. Which brings up the question of how can they possibly be beaten. Moving on from that, Summers starts complaining about the Marines doing a sloppy job on Ohara, since there are 2 survivors now, those being Saul and Robin of course. And as he is saying that, Gunko arrives with Nami and the gang in tow. Summers jokingly asks her if she is going to bring the Straw Hats to Marijoa as well, but Killingham tells him not to be stupid, and says that they shouldn't make Luffy angry for no reason, and instead just fulfill their mission and go home. Of course, what he doesn't know is that, regardless of if they take the Straw Hats with them or not, Luffy is going to be mad at them anyway once he finds out about the kidnapped children. After that, we get a scene of Nami and the gang complaining about getting caught and trying to figure out what Gunko's deal is. Nami also says that apparently Colin has now also been captured and taken hostage. Brook seems to have noticed how weird Gunko was being towards him. Just then, Gunko threatens him and tells him to be her personal songwriting slave. I was about to joke about how I will be her slave instead if she wants, but based on her design, she's probably like 15 years old, so I'm not going to make that joke. After she tells Brook to be her slave, the rest of the Straw Hats are shocked that a celestial dragon like Gunko is a fan of Brook. Although once again, based on her introduction box, it doesn't seem like she is actually a celestial dragon. After that, Summers tells Gunko to knock it off, since he agrees with Killingham and doesn't want to fight one of the Emperors of the Sea either. On a side note, I really like how Oda has maintained the prestige of the Emperor title, because as someone who reads a lot of shonen manga, I find it's a really common thing where a title or position etc. will be introduced to have great prestige and aura, and will be treated that way up until the MC gains that title or position, and all of a sudden it will lose all aura attached to it. So it's good to see that characters are actually treating Luffy like they would have Big Mom or Kaido. Getting back on topic, Brook rejects Gunko's offer, stating that Luffy was the one who gave him a second chance at life, and he has dedicated himself completely to him. He also says that he would rather die than live without honor, which pisses off Gunko, and she hits him. Although interestingly, she grabs her chest in pain right afterwards. I am really curious why she did that. Is it just that beating up Brook hurts her soul since she is a fan of his? Or did the Straw Hats actually manage to do some damage earlier? Or does she just have some sort of medical condition? I guess we will just have to wait and see. After that, Somers starts making an announcement to the entirety of Elbaf, or at least the places that have receivers for the transponder pill bug installed, I guess. In this announcement, he claims responsibility for the current situation on behalf of the Holy Knights, and says that he is a dagger sent straight from sacred Marijoa. The giants are confused as to why the government would do all this, and we also get a glimpse of some other villages on Elbaf, such as the Craftsman village and the Huntsman village. Somers then continues by telling them that they have taken 10 of their children as hostages, and have also beaten up Saul after he tried to save the children. Meanwhile, Killingham laments the fact that they can't show a video feed alongside the announcement. After which he asks Sanji if she can name all the children that were taken, and then he says that it's time for the kids to wake up from their dreams. After which we see that the children have now woken up and are confused about why they are marching along. Colin then tells them that they have been kidnapped. He calls them crybabies and says that unlike them, he is a warrior. Just then, some of the dream monsters show up and the kids ask for Colin to help them, but Colin just screams in terror. After that, we cut over to the giant warrior pirates, who have now realized that they have to go and save the children themselves, since even Saul has been taken out. But they can't go anywhere because their ship has taken too much damage. At this point, they encounter the most dangerous monsters of them all, women.
What do you mean by that?
And as you would expect, they are unable to do anything and their ship is dragged to the ground. And honestly, I can't even blame them. Although I do wonder what Oda's wife thinks about this scene. After the giant warrior pirates crash land, Summers gloats that the kids' chances of rescue are dwindling by the minute. He also refers to the women as real beasts. I think Oda might really end up on the couch after this chapter. Summers then addresses Chief Yarul directly and says that since Elbaf does not currently have a king, he is the de facto boss of Elbaf. Meanwhile, Yarul is shocked that Dory and Broggy got taken out, and we also get a scene of Ripley carrying Franky and heading towards the crashed sword of the giant warrior pirates. After which Summers says that the goal of the knights is to make the giants their slaves in battle, and then says that they are now going to judge how valuable the kids will be as hostages towards that end. At which point we also get a map showing us everyone's locations. Well, everyone that's on the branches of the treasure tree Adam anyway. This doesn't include Luffy and the gang, who are down in the underworld and are pretty much clueless about what's going on up here. After which, Anje starts announcing the names of the kids one by one, and we get the reactions of the parents of the kids, including Ripley and Scopper, who is proud of Colin for trying to save the kids. Ripley tells him that now is not the time for that. After that, Summer states their demands, which is that the giants have to burn all the books in the owl library and swear fealty to them. Otherwise, they will eliminate the kids one by one. Dory and Broggy say that since they know where the kids are, they should just go and save them. Summers tells Chief Yarul that the choice is his to make. Anje then interjects and says that the school is a symbol of Elbaf's current peaceful state, and that the library is full of Elbaf's ancient history, and also the books that were saved from O'Hara, and that it's a fortune that belongs to more than just Elbaf. Summers just tells her to calm down. And after realizing what the knights are after, both Robin and Scopper decide to spring into action, declaring that they won't let the knights get away with this. And that's how the chapter ends. All in all, this was a great chapter of One Piece, where we found out that similarly to the Gorosei, the Holy Knights are also immortal, which has a lot of interesting implications. Then we found out that Gunko wants to make Brook her music writing slave, and also that her chest hurts for some reason. We also got a great scene of Brook reaffirming his loyalty to Luffy. We also saw that Summers and Killingham treat Luffy with the respect he deserves as an Emperor of the Sea. We also got more of an insight into what the Holy Knights are trying to achieve by taking the kids hostage. That they don't just want the giants to side with them during the upcoming World War, but they actually want them to be battle slaves. And on top of that, they also want to get rid of any records of the past that are kept in the Owl's library. And finally, we saw that Robin and Scopper are done simply observing the situation and are now going to take action. Now, since we will have a break next week because of Golden Week in Japan, I will see you whenever the next chapter comes out. Once again, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you and bye bye.